This is number 24. Of course, it's going to be difficult. This is, again, another flaw question. So pre-phrasing is a good strategy. So take a moment, read over the stimulus, try to pre-phrase the flaw for yourself, and then look for a description of it. And then, of course, we'll talk about it. Of course, the first step is recognizing that there is a flaw here. So if you don't see a flaw at all, but they're telling you that it's a flaw question, of course, you want to reread it. So we got Pretty saying, is the flaw that tonsils are not the only cause of sleep disturbances? Excellent. Perfect. So tonsils cause breathing problems. They're saying, therefore, if you remove the tonsils, you'll remove the breathing problems. So just to diagram that in conditional logic, so let's say swollen tonsils. You can even just say bad tonsils if you want to simplify it. Lead to breathing problems. So no bad tonsils, or really, in this case, no tonsils at all, then no breathing problems. So it's a mistaken negation, which is a form of confusing necessary and sufficient conditions. They're saying that bad tonsils cause breathing problems, and then inferring from that bad tonsils are necessary in order to have breathing problems. But we know from the evidence that bad tonsils are sufficient to cause the problems. Then they're saying, therefore, that they are necessary. So the student got it correct, saying E sounds accurate. Breathing problems can be caused by something else. Excellent. So yeah, they can be caused by something else. Bad tonsils are just one of the things that can cause breathing problems, not the only thing that can cause breathing problems. There could be other causes as well. So excellent analysis there of E. Then the student saying that they found D to be tempting. So they said D was tempting at first. D says there may be other reasons for removing a child's tonsils. But yes, correct. The pediatrician isn't talking about other medical reasons for removing them. It's talking about the problem during sleep in particular as a reason for removing them. So they're all, D's like saying that D would be a good choice if they said that removing tonsils, the only reason to remove tonsils is to avoid breathing problems. But they're not saying that that this is the only reason to remove tonsils. They're simply saying that this is a singular reason to remove tonsils. So I think this analysis of D and why it's wrong is excellent. Running through the others, A, irrelevant. Yeah, appeal to authority. They're not really dealing with authority in any way in this argument. Of course, it is a pediatrician talking, but the pediatrician themselves is the speaker here. And to have an inappropriate appeal to authority, we might want to say that, let's say they have an orthodontist or a dentist and citing them as an expert when it comes to tonsils, but of course, tonsils are outside the area of expertise of a dentist, for example. So that would be an inappropriate appeal to authority, but that's not what they're doing in this argument. B, relying on an assumption that's tantamount to assuming the conclusion is true. That's describing circular reasoning here, but this argument is not guilty of circular reasoning. The evidence and conclusion are different. Again, of course, it is a mistaken negation here. So B is out for that reason. Very good. C, they eliminated because it's saying the action of the effect is intended to produce it. So C, the fact that an action has a certain effect, that the action is intended to produce that effect. That would be like saying that removing tonsils happens to remove breathing problems, and then assuming that that's the reason they removed the tonsils. Maybe they removed tonsils because the child has tonsillitis, and avoiding breathing problems is a side benefit of that. So C is describing a flaw that the argument simply is not guilty of making. I suppose another example of this, just to make it a different topic for a moment, would be like saying that, let's see, running your air conditioner in the summer leads to global warming, leads to climate change. But just because you turning on your air conditioner helps to contribute to climate change, that's not the reason you're running the air conditioner. That's not your intention. You just want to cool off. But so that's kind of what C would be doing here, inferring intention from causality. But again, of course, that's not what this argument is guilty of doing here. They're engaging in, again, mistaken negation. So C's out. Great analysis. Again, I would recommend diagramming just for your own thought process on the side. You don't have to do it on test day, but I think it's useful to some extent just to map out the reasoning in a question like this. But otherwise, great job here.